The French have, of course, instituted their own digital services tax, and their stance has been all along that they would get rid of that digital services tax as soon as there was global agreement. I mean, do you see that happening?
I do. I mean, that is the spirit of the agreement. So the question, though, that will happen, and this is the art of taxation, what is a digital services tax? So will digital services taxes go, but instead countries will have a digital levy, which is more like a VAT that would still be compliant with this type of an agreement? I think the bottom line is taxes are going up and companies need to be prepared for that. And we still need a lot more details. This was only 5 pages. We're grateful for those. It's a direction, it's a big step forward. But, when the blueprint originally came out, there were 500 pages of detail. So we need that kind of detail. That's due to us in October. And then what was really interesting in the 5 pages that we got yesterday is the timeline. And so the idea here is that they would like this implemented for 2023. I find that really lofty, but who knows? In this world right now, with this kind of spirit of cooperation, maybe the governments will be able to act with this type of speed.
5 pages definitely doesn't seem like a lot of tax pages from one American to another. Kate, one notable piece of this whole tax agreement is the absence of certain countries, in particular Ireland. How do you see that playing out? Is Ireland going to come to the table, propose something else? How do you see it unfolding?
Well, I think Ireland made some statements yesterday that they still are very interested in participating, but they've had a longstanding tax policy where they've had a 12.5% rate, and they have really used a lower tax rate to invite companies to come to their country, and then they've taxed their wage earners. So that is certainly, always been a sovereign right of countries to have their tax constructed in such a fashion. But they're where they go with this, and I think they want to be very involved, and they'll figure out what's best for their country as days go on. So it was interesting. 4 of the countries in the EU, Ireland, Hungary, Estonia, and Cyprus, did not opted out.
Well, the U.S. has been quite a driving force behind this deal since President Biden came into the White House and appointed Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary. They've really been putting a lot of might behind this, but it's still got to get through Congress. What is that process likely to look like, and do you see it getting hung up when it meets that stage?
That is well said. I do think it will be difficult. The margins that the Democrats have in Congress are very, very slim. It's probably something that would have to be done through the reconciliation process because of the 51 votes that are needed in order to get something through the U.S. Senate. And so right now they're very focused on this infrastructure package, which does not have much at all in tax in it. So what's interesting about this agreement is just you have to remember that all 130 countries that signed up to this have to get this in their local country laws. That's not an easy feat. So again, great spirit, great guidelines, more detail needed. But then the US is one country out of that 130 that has to get this in the local law. And I think if we've seen anything, it is hard to have that happen. Have all of the senators in the U.S. agree to something like this, or at least 50 of them, plus the vice president.
You talked about the exemptions, the certain sectors that will be excluded from this deal as it stands now. What do you make of the selection? Did any of that come as a surprise, financial services, mining, et cetera, when it comes to those carve-outs, or was that basically in line with expectation?
It was an expectation. I mean, we knew that the financial services and the oil and gas, mining, metals, that they were lobbying to get it, to get opted out. And the real reason is that their business models are really not aligned to manufacturers or retail wholesalers in the same way as, so they need a different regime in order to pay their fair share of tax. And so it wasn't really a surprise, although until it's in black and white, you never know. So I think that there's some relief there. Remember, all of this is being done because most tax codes around the world were written for bricks and mortar and not for the digital world. And so getting this done is a big step forward. And, again, companies are looking for certainty. and if they know, and they'll comply.
Well, let's talk about the company side of things. Clearly, this is going to be really costly for them. I was reading through a UBS note this morning, which puts the cost to large companies at over $100 billion. I mean, how are they actually going to fund this gap? Is it ultimately going to be passed on to customers?
I think that ultimately there's a lot of economic analysis as to who ultimately bears the cost on this. And, a concern I think people have to think about is wage earners are definitely a category of constituents that usually pay. If corporate tax rates go up, is there enough money to pay wage earners? And, most countries around the world are still dealing with the pandemic, as you well know, and so revenue is short. So we understand that governments have to raise taxes, but companies also need to thrive. They are the employees or employers of the employees, and so that needs to happen. And then ultimately the consumer too, what price will they get charged? So I think wage earners and consumers should be concerned.